Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher, and in this video I would like to talk about a poor fellow who was thrown in jail for 6 months, not put on trial, not convicted. He was just thrown in jail, waiting to be tried. His supposed evidence was collected. All the while he was innocent, and there was no proof that he had done anything except the word of a woman, of course. And of course, it's an Uber driver. Let's read the headline. Virginia Beach Uber driver lost 6 months of his life and his good name because some woman accused him of a crime, and because she's a woman and he's a man, when it's he said, she said, always believe what she says. Of course. And here is the poor fellow, this black guy, who was thrown in jail for 6 months with his obviously mediocre public defender. Why is that? Why is it that public defenders are mediocre while the people hired by the prosecutor's office are like really, really good attorneys? Ever notice that? Like, public defenders don't make very good money, but the prosecutor's office make excellent money compared to them anyway. Why is that? Why is it that the state invests so much money in essentially paying prosecutors and getting good lawyers to be prosecutors, but they pay so little to public defenders in contrast? Why is that? I find that interesting. So it took this public defender 6 months to get this guy out of jail, and the guy was just sitting, rotting in jail, waiting to be tried for a crime he didn't commit, with zero evidence except for the fact that she said he did something, and he said he didn't, and they believed her. So here's the story. Uber driver charged with raping passenger, admitted sexual content with her, search warrant says. Now, this is very interesting. In fact, I find this rather strange. Afterward, the woman used the app to give the driver a low rating. Write a comment about the assault, the warrant application said. Who does that? Does anybody out there find that unusual? Like, if you're a detective on the case, wouldn't you be like, she's just been raped, and for some reason, she's taking the time to give the guy a thumbs down and write a bad review. Who does that? Don't you rush right to the police station? Why are you going to give the guy? That doesn't make any sense. Who, after the rape, does something like that? It's very unusual. Very unusual. And the story begins by saying, did the justice system work this week in Virginia Beach? Doesn't sound like it worked at all. The guy sat in jail for 6 months for something he didn't do. Was the now dismissed rape case against Suwana Bazil Yoro prove that something's broken? Yeah, it's broken if he's had 6 months in jail for something he didn't do, when there's no evidence except for he said, she said. People's contrasting words, him saying that he didn't do it, her saying he did do it. That's not evidence. You can't put somebody in jail, arrest him, put him in jail for 6 months with no evidence. Oh, but apparently you can in America. See, this is really bad, all right? I think that now America is beat out Britain for the most feminist country. I didn't think it would happen. I mean, nobody beats out the number one, which is, of course, Sweden. But I thought all this time that, Britain or Australia might be tying for number two. But now, I'm not so sure, because I'm seeing all these cases popping up in Britain of women actually being charged with crimes and people being shown to be innocent when they're accused, and women who accuse them are being tossed in jail. I'm not seeing that happen in America at all. So I'm thinking now America is more feminist than Britain, maybe. I mean, you don't have freedom of speech in Britain, so people might be led to believe that Britain is more feminist. But I'm thinking that's not the case anymore. Or was this simply a bizarre case in which justice was served after a man spent 6 months in jail waiting for charges to be dropped? Well, that's oxymoronic. How was justice served to begin with if he spent 6 months in jail for something he didn't do? I'm going with the latter. Of course you are, because you're an idiot working for the lamestream media and you're a woman. Initially, the case checked all the latest hot-button boxes. The accused is an Uber driver. Yeah, what is it with Uber drivers? People seem to hate them for some reason. And the ride-sharing industry is under the siege from the old guard. Right, meaning taxi drivers hate them and the system hates them, and so they're going to try to push people out of being Uber drivers. And by the way, being an Uber driver sucks. You should do some research. It doesn't actually pay well at all. It's actually a losing money proposition. I would not be an Uber driver if I was some poor loser. You'd be better off working at the local KFC or as a cashier in a convenience store. Yeah, okay. On top of that, he was a 34-year-old African immigrant. Yes, he was black. Of course, that had something to do with it. Sure. Who came to the U.S. in 2009 from Benin. It couldn't be that the always believe her narrative is the problem. His accuser was apparently a local woman. Of course, people who say they were sexually assaulted have a right to be believed. Yeah, of course, this is a woman writing this. Where do you get this nonsense, bitch, that women automatically have a right to be believed? That's like saying I have a right to have $1 million in my bank account when I'm born. Oh, every baby born should be given $1 million in their bank account automatically because they have a right to that. What are you talking about? That's circular logic. You don't have a right to be believed. What are you talking about? Oh, I have an elephant living in my garage. I have a pink unicorn in my basement. I have a dragon living in my backyard. You should believe me, right? Because I have a right to be believed. You fucking idiot! You have a right to be believed. Kiss my motherfucking ass, you have a right to be believed. You have a right to nothing, bitch. There's no such thing as positive affirmative rights in this life. You have to fight for every right you supposedly have, okay? And you don't have any right to be believed. You're not magically not a liar because you have a vagina. Of course, people who say they were sexually assaulted have a right to believe. No, they do not. That means that anybody that says something, if it ticks a certain box or falls within a certain narrative or politically correct spectrum, that you automatically should believe it. And if somebody says they're not telling the truth and there's no evidence to show either way, oh, you're just supposed to believe this person because, oh, well, that's politically correct. Get the fuck out of here, you dumb bitch. Trouble is, by the time we find out that there are problems with an accusation, well, that's why when an accusation is made, police are supposed to investigate to find out if there's any credibility and if there's any actual evidence to support the accusation. You don't take the accusation and then use it as evidence, as you're trying to say should be the case when you say everybody has a right to be automatically believed, meaning that the words of an accuser are positive evidence. They are not unless they're backed up by evidence. Oh, well, we don't need evidence. We're just going to throw his black ass in jail. We're just going to throw his male ass in jail, I should say, because him being black had absolutely nothing to do with it. It all had to do with her being a woman and saying he did something, and since he's a man, he automatically is a liar if he says that she's not telling the truth. Inestimable damage may have been done. Just ask the Duke lacrosse players, yes, which is, of course, why you don't just believe somebody because they say something. Oh, I'm from the planet Alpha Centauri. Oh, well, I'm going to create some fucking narrative that says you should automatically believe people who say that they are aliens from other planets. That's no different than saying you should automatically believe accusers. Oh, but that's crazy. But what you're saying isn't crazy, that we should automatically believe people that accuse someone of a crime, but we shouldn't automatically believe people who say that they're aliens from other planets. I see. The University of Virginia fraternity brothers, yeah, there's another case of injustice because some woman said something, and of course we automatically have to believe her because it's a woman. Just like I automatically must believe someone who says they're an alien from another planet because the prevalent narrative says you must believe people who say they're aliens from other planets when they say they're aliens from other planets. I see. On Tuesday, Yarrow's defense lawyer, who apparently is not a very good one, which is why he's working as an attorney in the public defender's office, summed up the Beach case this way. A girl told a story, a guy told a story, and the prosecutors and police believe the girl. Right. Yeah, let's not investigate. This is why this believe her narrative bullshit is so popular, because police are lazy. They don't want to do any investigating. So let's just get our paycheck, take the woman's statement, automatically believe her, throw the guy in jail, give the prison guards union more prisoners to look after, make their union happy, make us happy. We don't have to do any investigating. And the man, men are disposable anyway. They're just there to stuff our pockets and use them to make money in some way, shape, or form, regardless of how. So let him just rot in jail for 6 months, even though you have no evidence to prove he did anything. But the public defender told me he never bought the accuser's version of the event. And yet it took him 6 months to get the guy out of jail on no evidence. I deal with a lot of actual criminals, Khalif added. I talked to my guy. I knew he didn't do it. It's worth noting that the public is very familiar with the name of Khalif's client. His name has been in the news for months, yet most don't know who his accuser is because news organizations shield the identity of the victim of sex crimes. And even now, after he's been cleared of any charges, we don't know who she is. Where now she is a liar. She is a proven liar because he's been let go because there's no evidence, which says she lied. No evidence. Oh, but we can't brand her as the criminal scumbag she is, who is essentially subverting justice and trying to use the courts to destroy some man because she didn't want to pay for an Uber ride or something. Come on. His name has been in the news for months, yet most don't know who his accuser is because news organizations shield the identity of victims of sex crimes. There's a good reason for that. No, there isn't a good reason for that. Not when the person's story is shaky or when it's been proven that he didn't do anything wrong. But when these cases go bad, when there's a problem, the accuser often continues to be protected while the accused tries to retreat from the spotlight. Yeah, that's everybody reads the headline. Few people read the actual story. And then 5-6 months later, if the truth comes out, the media will likely not even cover it, or they'll bury it on page 38, and then nobody will ever know that this guy isn't an actual rapist, so his life's over. That's how that goes. Here's what we do know. On Saturday night, March 4th, a young lady summoned Uber to take her to the First Colonial Road to Bay Colony. She told police that during the 35-minute trip, the driver raped her. When questioned by police, Yara admitted the two had contact, but said it was consensual. Something was wrong. Authorities assumed it was the driver. Of course they did. He's a man. She's a woman. See, this is why Uber drivers, if there are any of you Uber drivers out there listening, you need to put a camera in your car and film your entire night or day or whatever of work to protect yourself from people like, this bitch, okay? This scumbag piece of garbage. Rape is violent crime. Because of that, Yara was denied bond. Why was he even put in jail? There's no evidence. It's a he said, she said. What are you talking about? So he lost his freedom, his income, and was tossed out of Old Dominion University, where he was a civil engineering student. So this guy could have been an engineer, but now his life is over. Wonderful. Yara sat in the Virginia Beach jail. Why is he sitting in jail 6 months? What's going on here? Okay, what is going on? This is absurd. How can he go to prison? This shit really makes my blood boil. He sat in jail for 6 months. He was finally released on bail in early September after the hardworking public defender's office combed through Uber records, interviewed drivers and passengers, and found another driver who told them he had experienced what Khalif has described as a similar scenario with the same passenger on the same night. So she had sex or some kind of relations with another driver that same night. And why, when this cloud of doubt appeared, the prosecutors took another look at the case and agreed that Yara should be freed on bail. What the hell? They should dismiss the case. That still means they're going to put him on trial. The case should be dismissed entirely. This is what I love. Prosecutors in America, American prosecutors are the absolute worst. They care more about winning than they do about the truth. They don't want to lose. They'd rather have somebody go to jail forever. They care about their win-loss record, nothing else. They will subvert justice. They will be dishonest. They'll do whatever they can if they don't think they're going to get caught, generally speaking, to maintain their win-loss record and not look like they've done anything wrong. The amount of saving face that goes on and the amount of incompetence and corruption in America with prosecutors is just unbelievable. This guy shouldn't be on bail. The case should be dismissed. This shouldn't even have been brought to any kind of trial and have him tried. He's still going to be tried for a crime. He'll be found not guilty, obviously. But why is the prosecutor even pursuing this? Because he doesn't want to admit he made a mistake and leave himself open to some kind of lawsuit from this guy, which is going to occur anyway. If I was this guy, I'd sue him. Now, so he doesn't want to make it look like he doesn't want to admit any wrongdoing by dismissing the case, so let it go to trial. And then he'll say, well, I had it on good faith that this guy had done something wrong. I was misled too, so he can basically make himself appear less culpable when it's very obvious this guy didn't do anything. I have to commend the prosecutors, Califf said Tuesday, for swift actions taken to make things right once questions about the case came to light. Yeah, but they haven't dismissed it yet, scumbags. On Wednesday, after there were what described as credibility issues with the case. Credibility issues? I would say so. The prosecutor asked for the charges against Yara to be dismissed entirely with prejudice. Oh, my God. So they're doing what I didn't think they're going to do. Well, I hope this frigging guy sues. That's legalese for gone forever. So Yara got his life back. His lawyer, I hope this guy sues them. And he'll win. I hope he sues the crap out of these people for millions of dollars. They stole his life. They stole his ability to make a living. They stole his degree in engineering, which is actually a useful degree, which he could make a good living off of. Jesus Christ. And all because some broad was unhappy about her Uber ride, or she didn't have an orgasm when she had sex with this guy, or something she was displeased about. And why don't we know her identity? She's clearly a criminal. His lawyer, who says Yarrow is a naturalized citizen and a Navy veteran. The guy's a veteran too! Holy shit! Well, asked to have his client's criminal record expunged, in an interview Tuesday, Virginia Beach Commonwealth's attorney Colin Stoll described the case as horrible for both sides, noting that I have an ethical responsibility to a defendant as much as I do a victim. Yeah, but it turns out in this case, the defendant is a victim. He is the victim, you scumbag, and the defendant is the perpetrator, you idiot. And this is the part that really makes my blood boil. The lawyers were prohibited from speaking about some of the information. Sure, you're a woman in America, accuse somebody of rape, get them tossed in jail for months, if not years leading up to trial, and when they're finally found not guilty, which means you made a false rape accusation and you subverted justice and used the system and hundreds, if not thousands of police man-hours to get back at this guy, we're not going to release your information so people can ostracize you, but the person you accused of a crime that they didn't commit, they've already been smeared in the media and their life ruined. But you're protected by that same media, even though you're the real criminal. Lovely. Don't you just love that? They're prohibited from speaking about some of the information known only to them about the case, which leaves some questions unanswered. This is the part that really makes my blood boil. That makes my blood boil too, but this does even more so. When I asked Stoll if his office, the prosecutor's office, planned to charge the woman with perjury, he said no! What? To do that, the state would have to prove that a person knowingly lied under oath, meaning we have no evidence that she lied, so we can't arrest her and charge her with a crime just based on the word of the man who says he didn't do it and on evidence that actually shows he didn't do it, but we'll throw him in jail with zero evidence based only on her word. What the fuck? Notice this makes me very angry. And it should. Unbelievable! You contradict yourself, you douchebag! So essentially, you'll throw him in jail with zero evidence and just her word, but you won't throw her in jail when you have actual evidence that she lied. Lovely! This was an odd case and a tragic one. It's not odd. It's obvious that you are a moron, trad cuck, fucking pussy, white knight, mangina, cuck boy, who believes women and whatever they say, and this is why you shouldn't use to always believe her narrative, because you can never just believe somebody. You have to search for evidence. You have to have actual proof, because words are not evidence. One where justice was probably... No, justice was not served at all. Justice was not served at all. You had a guy put in jail for 6 months for something he didn't do. He didn't do it. You had no evidence. The writer of this is a woman who is trying to defend the actions taken on behalf of a dishonest, scumbag, evil, criminal woman and the system that enabled her to put a man in jail for 6 months and then didn't prosecute her. That's what this woman writing this article is doing, and she's scum. She's scum of the earth, just like this woman whose name we still don't know, even though it's been proven with actual evidence that she's a liar. But not before one of America's newest citizens and a veteran lost his good name and spent 6 months in jail and had his future career ruined. Ooh, this stuff pisses me off. And there's the writer of this article, Karen Doherty, who makes excuses for female criminals and the system that enables them to be criminals and then not be prosecuted for their lies. If you're a woman in America, you can accuse people of rape, and even when you're proven to be a liar, you will not be prosecuted. That's why in my book, America has now entered the number 2 slot of feminist countries on the planet, with Sweden at number 1, or it's at the very least in top contention, competing with England and Australia and Germany for the number 2 slot. It's pretty hard to decide which one wins number 2 slot, but I'm thinking America is in the lead. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to contribute to my Patreon, you can find a link in the description, a pinned comment in the comments section, as well as in the end screen credits. You'll find a link. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.